Shall we begin?
Let's begin now.
Hi everybody, it's Doreen and welcome back to another card project. The card that we'll be making today is a retirement card. I'm making this for one of my co-workers who after 27 years is retiring. And I wanted to do this card for her because when I first started in our department, she kind of took me under her wing and showed me the ropes and how things work. So I'm really going to miss her. And I got the idea from the card out of this magazine. It's called Just Cards. And the card that I decided to make was this one right here. It has a picture of an owl and it says, "I'll miss you." So come on and join me and I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay everybody, so we're going to bring up our supplies so we can get started making the card. So now my card measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've taken it and scored it in half to make it a 4.25 by 5.5 inch card. And I've also gone ahead and inked my edges using the Tim Holtz Distress ink, and this is the Ice Spruce. So now what we want to do next is we want to add our top layer, and my top layer measures 5.25 inches by 4 inches, and this cardstock is from this paper pack by DCWV. It's the Linen Closet Matte Stack. The cards itself, this is some of the Joanne fabric textured cardstock. So let's put our top layer on to our card, but before we do that, I do want to add ribbon. And this is my ribbon, and this is actually cut at about 6 inches. And this ribbon is some of the ribbon that I picked up in the dollar bin at Michael's. Looks like this. So we're going to get some tape, and I've already taken and lightly marked with a pencil where I want my ribbon to go. So what I'm going to do is just line it up real quickly here. And we're going to start with this side first and get this side, make sure it's even. And then I'm just going to use the cheater method and take a piece of tape and just tape that down. So now I'm going to flip this over, make sure I have it even going across, lined up, and it is. And then we'll just take another piece of tape and we'll tape it down once again using the cheater method. So then the next thing we'll do is we'll put the top layer onto our card. So I'm going to move this over just a little bit, and I want to open out my card for when we lay it down. So, and the other thing that I like to do sometime is, just so that my ribbon lays flat, I just take a small dollop of glue and press down. And that's just so my ribbon will lay flat. So now let's get our ATG gun and get some tape on here. And we'll tape this down to our card. So I'm going to get along my edges here. And then I'm going to run some tape down the middle. And then we'll just add it to the card. And we'll line it up. And then we'll just go ahead and press down all the way around. Like so. Okay, so now what we can do is we can start adding some of our embellishments. So we're going to start off by adding our scallop piece, which looks like this. And this scallop piece is from the, let's see, Lacey Labels Cricut Light cartridge. And it looks like this. And This is one of the Cricut Light cartridges that you can pick up at Walmart. I believe some of the Walmarts still are selling it, but I think some of them have stopped selling a lot of their craft stuff, so they may not have this one anymore. But I'm sure you can find it online still through Walmart.com. So we're going to be making the Scallop 1, which is key number 16, which is right here. So on the Gypsy, let's go ahead and get our Gypsy out, and we'll go to that cartridge. And then that would be key number 16. So it looks like this, but what I did when I laid it out for my card, and I'll go ahead and show you what my card layout looks like. So this is my card layout. So basically, to get it the way I wanted it on the Gypsy, I just went ahead and I set it on the mat, and it is cut at 2.5 inches. And then I went to the Advanced tab, and from our Gypsy tutorials, do you remember which key you tap to change the rotation of your image? It is this one right here. So what I did was I just rotated it 90 degrees so that I could get it to come out and fit the way I want it on my card. So now, as I said, that is cut at 2.5 inches. And I've gone ahead and popped it up on the back with some foam tape. But before we lay that down, I want to next bring up my next layer. And the next layer is also from the Lacey Labels. And it is also the Scallop 1. But what you'll do is you'll hit your Shift key and then key 16 to get the Scallop 1. And then that I cut at 1 3/4 inches. And this is all with the aspect ratio on. So once I went ahead and cut this out, I then inked my edges on both with the Ice Spruce again. And then I took this little stamp of the owl, and that is from the Paraphrase Close to My Heart ink stamp set. And this came with my Art Philosophy set. So it looks like this. It's this owl right here. And what I did to color it in is I used my Bic Market pens. And these are the ultra fine ones. And I also picked these up at Walmart, but not in the store. My Walmarts didn't have it in the store. I had to actually order it online. And they were $19.99 for the 36 pens. And I find they work just as well as the Copics. I do have Copics, but I don't have a lot of them. So, and I pretty much use my Copics anyway for my airbrushing system. So, I've also got this popped up on some foam tape as well. And I've got 2 thicknesses of foam tape. So I'm going to add the owl to my scalloped larger edge first. Like so. And now we can go ahead and take off the tape on the back of our second scallop and add that to the card. So let's peel the backing off. And I only have 1 thickness of it this time. And I'm going to place it right here on my card. So now my next thing that I want to add is I want to go ahead and add the corners that I've cut out. And the corners are from the lovely Floral cartridge. And this is also a Cricut Light cartridge. And also, I've gotten a couple people that have asked me from my sign, where did I get the Paper Diva? That Paper Diva right here is also on this cartridge. And actually, there's some other sayings on here too that pertain to scrapbooking. There's one called Scrap Queen. So that was kind of why I picked this cartridge up, because I liked what was on there as far as Scrap Queen and Paper Diva and some other things, work at heart and so forth. So anyway, that is for our corners, which are going to go right here. I've gone ahead and cut out 2, and we're going to place the other one right here. So now, with these, I did take the aspect ratio off because they were rather large and I didn't want them to be as large as they were. I wanted the width to be a little bit smaller. So what I've done is I've cut that at the width is 2.10 and the height is 1.75 or 1 3/4. So from our tutorials, if you remember to take off the aspect ratio, you're going to take and tap right here where you have that little chain link right there. I'm going to bring that up some so you can see it. You just take that off, and then once you take that off, you'll tap in your width field right here, and then you can tap your numbers and type in what you want the width to be. And as I said before, the width is 2.10, and then you tap your height and your number pad again and type in the height, and the height is 1.75. So now, which key that is let's go to that cartridge, and what you'll have to hit is your shift key, your font key, and then you'll hit key 39, and that looks like this, and that's how you'll get your corners. So the other thing that I've done is I've also inked these with the ice spruce, and then I took and ran both of them through my embossing folder that is the Frame Botanical, and the folder looks like this. It's a little small folder, so I just stuck the corner in there and ran it through the Vagabond, or Mr. Bond, as I call it. So now I'm not going to have these pop up, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my Tombow adhesive and get some tape on here, and then we can add the corners, or add each corner. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm not going to put it right on the edge because I do want just a little bit of the top layer to show through. So I'm just going to put it right there, like so. And then we'll go and add the other one. And we'll get the tape on there using the Tombow adhesive. And the same thing, we'll just add it up there in the corner, just a little bit away from the edge, and then we'll press down. So now the last thing we're going to add on the front of the card, well actually that we've used the Cricut for, is I went ahead and cut out this little flower. Now this flower is from the Hello Kitty Greetings cartridge, and if you don't have this cartridge, you can just go out and search for a 5-petal flower and use that. Or if you have a die, you can also use that as well. So I've cut that out, and it is on page 47, and you actually will hit the close and then key number 20, and it looks like this. Now what I did was I hid the inside circle on my gypsy. So let me show you what that looks like on the gypsy. So let's go and bring up that cartridge, and here you can see, I'm going to blow this up, you can see where I went and hid the flower. And to hide the flower, the center, you first bring up your image. So we'll do that. I'll go back, and we're going to bring up the Hello Kitty, and it is key number 20. So it looks like this. And as you can see, you have the little circle in the middle. So now I don't want it to cut that circle. So what I've done is I tap on my image, I hit the Advanced tab, and then the Hide Contour, and then when it opens up, the circle will be along red because it's telling you that's something that you can hide. So then you'll just hit the hide key. Right now it's saying show because I've hidden it. But if I tap show, you'll see where it's come up in red for me to hide that if I want. So then I would just tap hide. And then now when it cuts, it will cut solid as it did here. So I've popped that up on some foam tape as well. And I've also inked it with the ice spruce. So before we add this to the card, what I want to do is I want to add my inside greeting for the flower. Now, this is, I did this on the computer. I wish they would make a computer that when you want to just print small items, you can do that rather than wasting a whole sheet of paper. So what I did was I actually cut the sheet of paper, or this is actually a file folder. I cut it in half, wrote out my image on the computer, ran it through my printer, and then I took my 1 1/4 inch hole punch and punched out the wording. And I've also inked the edges as well. Now this I'm not going to pop up, so I'm just going to put some tape on here. And we'll add this to the center of our flower, like so. So now we can take the backing off of the foam tape for the flower, and then we can go ahead and add our flower right here, like so. So now the last thing I have to add before I add my you-know-what, I have this butterfly. Now the Cricut, I do have a Cricut cartridge that will cut a butterfly with this fine detail, but I'm finding that sometimes that when you want to cut something this small, the Cricut does have a problem with cutting intricate cuts, and that's even if you have a brand new mat. I've still had trouble and have ruined a lot of paper doing this. And then I remember when I went to the CHA show last year, I picked up these little dies that are by Cherry Lynn Designs. And I'm going to open up one so you can see what they look like. But they look like this, and they can be run through a Cuttlebug, Vagabond, or your Big Shot. So, and they actually cut the intricate cuts very well. So this is the one that I cut right here. It looks like that. And that's the top layer. And then you have a bottom layer to that. And I'm going to open that up and let you see what those look like. And these, they look like this. And what you do with these is you place on the edge on the fold before you go to cut it out, and when you run it through your die cutting machine, whichever one you run it through, it cuts it as one. So as you can see on the back, it looks like this on the back, and then I have my top layer on the front. So I'm going to add that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on here because I want this to just pop up just a little bit. So I'm going to take my glue gun and just run it back and forth, because what that'll do is once it hardens, it should pop it up. And I'm going to place it right there and press down. So that's it for the front of the card. I'm going to move the dies over here for now. Except we do have to add our bling, but before I add the bling, I want to go ahead and put my inside sentiment in. Now, I've got my inside sentiment that I've taken from the book that I use a lot. It's the Ultimate Guide to the Perfect Card. It has different wordings in here when you're stuck for what to write. So I use that a lot. And what I've done is taking the Labels Die 4. I first printed my wording out using some regular paper. This isn't cardstock. This is just regular colored paper. And then I inked my edges, or I'm sorry, I ran it through the die using the Labels 4 die, and this is the largest size. And then I inked my edges with the ice spruce. So it basically just says, now as you retire, take the time to be with family, have fun, keep active, kick your heels up, throw out the clock. Happy retirement, Jean. You deserve it. And then I've signed my name. So we're going to put that right there in the center. So I'm just going to use my Tombow adhesive, get some tape on the back of here. And then we'll add this right here and press down. So now, the last thing we need to do, you know what? Gotta add the bling. So I've already gone ahead and picked out my colors, and I'm just gonna have one right here and one right there. And I'm gonna use the glue gun for this, but I think what I'm gonna do so that I do not burn my fingers is I'm gonna pick this up with my tweezers, if I can get that. Oh, maybe not. Okay, I'm just gonna place a dollop of glue right there in the center, and then I'm gonna place my bling down. Last couple of times I put the glue exact right on the bling from like so, and I burned my finger a couple of times, so I've decided I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm gonna try doing it this way so that I don't burn myself. And then we'll just press that down. And the glue will dry. So that's it. That's my retirement card for my coworker. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.